We released Night Sky and the plays just kept going up and up and up. And we were like, oh my God, it's hit like 200,000. It's hit 500,000. It's hit 1 million. We just couldn't believe it. And we were like going up and up through the millions. We were like, what is going on? We're a band with no label, you know, no big industry stuff. We're DIY. And we've released this thing that is just going absolutely, yeah, turbo. In 2013, I was working with another band called Inaudium, and we decided to call it a day, basically. The day that we made that announcement, I received a call from Nick saying that they were in a similar position, and that their band at the time, Levellian, were no more too. And Nick called me and said, how do you fancy getting together with me and Dan and Tom and having a jam and seeing what comes of it? So there was some kind of synchronicity there from the start. I knew them all already from touring and the local scene, and it seemed like a pretty sensible thing to do. We all knew each other, so we could get kind of straight into it.
We'd all decided that it'd be cool to maybe jam some ideas out, or at least have a conversation and explore the idea of potentially working together on some music. That's all that it was. There wasn't that much pressure to start off with. It wasn't like, right, let's create this band together.
I knew that he could sing well and he was a good guitar player. It turns out in the band Inaudium, he was like the main creative force in the band. He did a lot of the writing when it came to that, so it was good to have that creative force in the band as well.
Initially, I was very sceptical about it and didn't know whether I wanted to do it, but after a few weeks and the first song started to come and then more came after that, it just got better and better, and I'm so glad that we stuck at it.
We arranged a practice and we got together to jam out some ideas.
I was so used to seeing Nick, Tom and Dan with a different singer, and they were so used to playing as a four-piece with a different singer stood where I am. So I think we all found it a little bit odd. I know that they kind of got me on board because they wanted to do something different to the style of music that they were doing at the time. So at the time they were doing like kind of classic rock. They wanted to do something a bit heavier.
We decided that we was going to go in a different direction with Of Allies, and it just felt strange.
The first practices were obviously strange.
Yeah, when we first met up, it was super weird because I felt like I was kind of like treading on someone else's toes just by kind of being in his spot.
Rich, he had a presence and it intimidated me a bit, and I felt a little bit awkward.
Tried to sort of focus on writing some decent songs.
When the songs started coming, after that point, there was not really any question.
I like the fact that we satisfy my heavy itch that needs scratching.
Eventually, after kind of a few practices, it started to gel and it started to work.
It was like my dream style of music. Now we had more of an alternative edge, which Rich brought.
We were just kind of sounding out ideas and jamming and like just playing for like an hour at a time, and then stopping and having a laugh and then going back to it and going back to jamming again. And eventually we started finding these bits that kind of worked. The first thing that we came across was Ghosts.
Too bright, they venture outside.
The first song we wrote was Ghosts, and it was such a good song.
It spawned out of just us jamming in a room together. I think Rich came up with the chords.
The jam, for some reason, sounded quite progressive. We did that a lot of the time. I think it was maybe my leanings and the things I was listening to. And we realised that, and we knew that's not what we wanted to do, so we kind of reined it in. And from that, personalities started to come together. and it started off as one
When
thing
you
and
first
ended up
meet,
as something
and
completely
as a
different.
res-
So it took quite a long time to write. As soon as we'd written it, we just knew that it was a banger.
It's one of the best songs we've written. I wouldn't say it's the best song. We've written some amazing songs since, but I still listen to it now and go, yep, still a banger.
That was more the type of music that I actually listened to, so I was absolutely buzzing off it. And when you believe in something, it makes it a lot easier to make it into a success.
We started thinking, okay, we found a style here. So we started writing a lot.
We spent a lot of time in the rehearsal room.
And we had that initial flourish of ideas and flourish of creativity that bands often do when they first get together. You know, we managed to get this set together, and we're like, right, I guess we can take this out and gig it now.
Our first gig was at a local unsigned music night called The Sesh.
Played at the Session Hall because we'd got kind of a rich history, both bands, of playing that show, and it'd been really successful.
I don't think we was expecting the reception we got at the first gig.
It was a brilliant gig, to be honest. I remember
It ended up being absolutely packed. It was like,
Beyond what we expected.
Well, it is the best band I've ever played with.
as soon as we got on stage together, everything fell into place. And yeah, we knew after that gig we were onto something special.
It just gave us the appetite to get out there to a wider audience around the UK and do more gigs.
Most of the things from the Tempers EP we played at that first gig. There was just that connection. As soon as we got on stage, there was no need to kind of explain things to each other or talk. You know, that thing that musicians do where they communicate just by looks and turns and nods, that was there from the off.
You need that connection with your bandmates. Touring for the first time, it connected the band more, I feel. It got us together as a group more.
there was definitely potential there of what we could become. There were kind of snippets of sounds and ideas that have stayed with us, to be honest.
It's really good to get on stage and play with the guys. I can't fault it.